This story contains disturbing situations and some coarse language. Viewer discretion advised. This story has always been particularly hard for me to tell, but I think I'm finally ready. I guess you can take it as advice. Don't let people you date online know where you live. Let me just start with saying that I was about 17 when this happened in 2014. I was living with my sister Katie, who was 25. She's a great girl, really smart, caring, and funny. I love her, and she's honestly one of my best friends. She is a bit boy crazy, though. Being a tall, blonde girl, she got many swipes and likes on dating apps and websites. At bars and even at the store, many men would flirt with her. She was always going to meet guys and going on dates. Not a lot of them really went anywhere, though. She would always come home and say that they were too overbearing, too boring, too annoying, whatever. Then one stuck. His name was Darius. I remember the first date in 2013, late June. He came over and met me and actually took my sister, our 3 step-siblings, and I to the movies. I was impressed that he was so kind to our family and loved kids so much. Soon, a week of dating turned from a week to a month. We went to the casino that was nearby where we went shopping and out for dinner. It was honestly the most fun I've ever had. He took me to the arcade and won me a lot of tickets. Then, that month turned into 4 months. He took me and my step-siblings to one of the wealthier towns, and we went trick-or-treating. He was black, which was a surprise for my parents, but it's not like they cared, really. He was respectful to our parents and showered us in gifts. My sister was convinced he was the one. They went on weekend trips, and he joined us on our Christmas vacation to Naples, Florida, where our grandparents had a house. At that point, they had been dating for 5 months, their 6-month anniversary being on New Year's Eve. We were having such a fun time. I remember we had just walked from the beach and they were in their room. I heard him yelling at her, but I couldn't make out what he was saying because the doors were so heavy. I thought it was just a typical relationship fight. I carried on and went into my room. I was chilling on my bed, watching some prank YouTube video, when I heard a smash. It was quiet and muffled. I waited a couple seconds and put my iPad down. Walking out of my room, I saw my sister storming out of her bedroom crying. I walked into the bedroom to find Darius cleaning up a broken vase smashed on the floor. I asked what happened, and he said my sister accidentally pushed it off the dresser when putting her bag on the top. I shrugged and walked back to my room. Later that night, it was around 2 a.m. I was still awake, but the rest of the family was asleep. I heard a knock at the door, and it was Katie. She walked in and sat down on my bed. I closed the door and sat next to her. She was crying. "I just don't know what to do. Darius threw that vase at me," she said in a hushed voice. "What?" I almost yelled, but she shushed me. "He said I was looking at some guy playing volleyball when we were at the beach. I wasn't even looking. I was just watching the game. I don't know what to do." She cried into my shoulder and swallowed me into a hug. At first I felt sadness that she was so hurt, but then I became angry. The guy got jealous, so he decided to scream at her and throw a vase at her? I asked her to describe completely what happened in the bedroom, and she said they were arguing, but he grabbed the vase off the dresser and threw it at her when she was hanging clothes up in the closet. Luckily, she moved out of the way in time for it not to hit her. I told her that she had to break up with him, and she agreed. We set a day, about a week after the vacation, for her breakup with him. For the rest of the vacation, Darius was tense and distant from the family. The breakup did not go well. He begged for her to take him back through texts for about a week. She blocked his number, and he proceeded to call the house phone over and over again, leaving voicemails. After a month, Katie disconnected the phone, not only to rid the constant calls from Darius, but to save money. This was around early February. Everything had calmed down and gone back to normal. Katie had gone back to meeting some guys on dating websites and was going out a lot. In early April, the shit hit the fan. All of a sudden, Katie started getting disgusting texts from out-of-state and in-state numbers saying they would kill her, mutilate her, rape her, etc. Then I started receiving texts that also involved my sister, the mysterious person or persons saying they would bound us both up and do unspeakable things to us both. We blocked every number that texted us. I mean, these texts were coming in multiple times a day. A new number every time. I figured they were probably being sent through an app like Text Free or something like that. My sister called the non-emergency police line and was basically told that they couldn't do anything about it, that we just had to keep blocking them. They would stop soon. One night, in late April, Katie, our 3 siblings, and I were playing some board game and eating chips with dip. It was probably 8 o'clock. We heard a knock at the door, and my sister asked if I was expecting anyone. I told her no, and she had a puzzled look on her face. She got up, opened the door, but nobody was on the front porch. She closed it, relocked it, and walked back over to the table. Suddenly, we heard a loud bang in the garage. I looked over at my sister, wide-eyed, who quickly ran to the door to the garage and locked it. She looked over at our stepbrother Jake and asked if he had left the garage door open when he put his bike away. He said yeah. My sister grabbed her cell phone and said to come upstairs. We all got up quietly, followed her upstairs, and went into the master bedroom. She told me to go under the bed and put my little siblings into the closet. I heard a loud ruckus downstairs, which was actually the breaking of the door handle of the door leading into the house from the garage. I heard footsteps go around the downstairs, checking every room. Then I heard the footsteps going up the stairs, slowly and quietly. I heard the person walk into the room, about 3 feet from where my head was. I peeked from the corner of the bed, where the bedskirt wasn't blocking, and I saw it was Darius. He started screaming at Katie, demanding to know why she left him and why she wouldn't answer his texts. What text, she asked, and he said,
"The texts I've been sending you for months."
I covered my mouth and cried silently. The guy was obviously unstable and was dangerous. I truly felt like I was going to die or be hurt in some way. He started screaming at her, and she cried loudly. Then he grabbed her and hit her against the wall, pinning her against it.
"You fucking whore! You left me so you could fuck other guys, didn't you?"
He yelled as she cried and gasped for air. He was grabbing her neck. He picked up her head just to slam it into the wall again and told her about how dumb he thought she was. Then he stopped screaming and looked around the room.
"Where are the kids?"
he asked, and she managed to croak out, "They're not here."
"Bullshit!"
he yelled, slamming her head into the wall. I was praying that the neighbors were home. My sister lives in a condo, and he was smashing her head into the shared wall.
"I know they're in here, and if you keep lying, I'm gonna kill you and the kids,"
he yelled, and he tightened his grip on her neck.
"Now are you gonna tell me where the fuck they are?"
he screamed again, grabbing her and pushing her onto the floor. Suddenly, I heard a shout from the condo next door.
"I'm calling the damn cops."
Well, with that, Darius looked over at the wall and sprinted out, down the stairs, and unlocking the door. We heard the front door slam, and my sister ran over to the window. Crying, she told us we could come out, and I crawled out from under the bed and hugged her. My siblings ran out of the closet, crying, and ran over to us. We could hear the sirens coming closer. They interviewed all of us, even the neighbor who called the police, and we could all identify who it was. The dumbass left his car sitting at the end of the street. They found him a couple days later at his mom's house and arrested him. He got charged with home invasion, strangulation, assault, risk of injury, and disorderly conduct. It was one of the scariest moments of my life, and I'll never forget it. The feeling of having someone you once trusted so much go and do these unspeakable things is something I never wish to feel again. My sister is okay now and doesn't go on dates with people she meets online anymore. Unfortunately, because my parents thought that my sister wasn't being responsible enough and let us get in harm's way, I had to move back in with them. My sister and I never talked about it much again, so I don't know if he went to prison, got out of prison yet, or is just on parole. I would ask her, but I don't want to put her through the memory again, especially now that she is in a very loving relationship with a very successful guy and they are happy. I just hope Darius doesn't come back.